So I tried intermittent fasting without exercise for 1 week and I was shocked. I mean, my results were shocking. Hi friends, welcome to my channel. Atem here from Sapphire Space, where we discuss all things wellness and self-improvement. In this video, I would like us to discuss about my recent experience with intermittent fasting. There are thousands of videos out there introducing intermittent fasting, and that's not the purpose of this video, since I just want to discuss my experience with it. Historically, I have tried the 16-8 method, where I eat for 8 hours and I fast for 16 hours, which usually includes bedtime. I've also tried the OMAD, or the 1 meal a day, where you only eat 1 meal a day in an hour. I've tried the 24 method, where you only eat 4 hours and you fast for 20. I haven't tried the 5-2 method, which includes 5 days of fasting and 2 days of eating. And I haven't tried any other more stringent methods, because I know there's alternate day fasting and many other methods out there. In the past, I always did intermittent fasting with exercise, and this time around I decided to do it without exercise, just to see the benefits of intermittent fasting alone. So I tried the 16-8 method to see if this is going to help for weight loss. So a brief background for those of you who don't know me. I am a huge foodie, okay? So if I can do this, then definitely you can do this, trust me. One thing I like about the 16-8 method though is that it's very flexible, where you can always shift your window if you have a date early in the day or later in the day, and it's really flexible and can accommodate for different lifestyles. I usually prefer eating from noon to 8 p.m. or 1 to 9 p.m. That way I can eat dinner with my family or my husband in the evening. During intermittent fasting, I only drink water and unsweetened tea. I do believe that there are several zero-calorie drinks that can be consumed during the fasting window. Please do your own research prior to starting, as there's lots of conflicting information out there. So now let's discuss the benefits of intermittent fasting real quick before we discuss how it went for me. So clinical studies have found that when intermittent fasting is done right, it can improve heart health, improve physical performance, decrease food cravings, decrease the risk of diabetes and obesity, boost metabolism, which can help with fat loss. It can also increase life expectancy, decrease blood pressure and cholesterol, and it can also increase mental performance. So I only started it this time around to help with the weight loss. I'm also aware of the different benefits that it has. I'm going to insert some clips of the foods that I ate here, really speedy. So nothing special. Every day I try to incorporate greens in my diet, but the times I couldn't, I did have very healthy green smoothie for dinner. So let's see how day one went. Day one was a little bit different for me, especially since I just came back from a vacation where I was eating and drinking uncontrollably. So on day one, I checked my weight that morning, and I have not remembered being any heavier than that in the past couple of years, and I think this is what really pumped me to start the challenge. So I still felt lazy to exercise, but I was overall more interested in starting this diet because I wanted to go back at least to my baseline weight. So on that day, I'm glad that I made it to noon though. I think what really helped me was that I got quite busy at work, so lunchtime did come really fast and I was excited. So lunch was here and I had my first meal, and I won't lie, even prior to lunch being here, I was really hungry, but I'm glad I waited to noon to open my window. So on that day, my window did open and close on time, and it was a success. So for day two, I thought this day was going to be easy for me, but it wasn't. So similar to day one, I tried to keep myself busy and away from the kitchen as much as possible. So I believe I got confused on that day between hunger and thirst, because I realized that when I drank lots of water, I felt slightly better. Because usually I love to listen to my body, and I would generally prefer moving my eating window up if I feel hungry, because I really hate the idea of starving, because whenever I starve, it makes me binge eat when I see food. So day two, noon got here, and I did this meal for noon, and the day went as planned. For day three, I was looking forward to continuing trend because I was also already seeing results on the scale. However, I realized that in order to be successful, I had to plan my meals, because historically when I did not plan my food intake, I did set myself up for a disaster. Because I'll eat almost anything at home, or if I go to the grocery store, I'll put anything in my grocery cart. I'm not sure if anybody can relate with this, but that's how it went. So on day 3, I was able to plan my meals. I did a real quick meal prep, and that really helped me stick to my window and also eat right, I would say. Eating window came, and this is the food I ate on day 3 and then on day 4. So on this day, I felt bloated for some reason, I'm not really sure. And on this day also, I was traveling out of state that morning. So the distraction was kind of helpful, as I was able to hold off eating until I landed. I was actually really proud of myself for not eating the snacks offered at the plane. By day 4, my body was already getting familiar with staying until noon or later to break my fast. So this was a success. So we have day 5 and day 6. For day 5 and day 6, the temptation was really high because I was with my parents and I was also off work. So obviously more time for distractions and easy to get hungry. And then there was a lot of food in my parents' house for both breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and we had a big meal that my mom cooked, and then my dad kept trying to tell me like breakfast is the most important meal of the day and that I should eat, but I did do a good job with that. So we did it. On the last day, day 7, this was a Sunday, and it is usually very hard for me to do intermittent fasting on Sundays because I love having good breakfast on Sunday mornings. I decided to encourage myself to finish strong, and I did finish strong. So I tried not to check my weight that day because I wanted to see the effect of the full 7 days. So on Monday morning, I did climb on the scale, and I was very surprised. I was so surprised to notice a 9-pound difference in only 7 days. So as far as my overall experience, this experience made me really conscious on how I was eating, and especially it let me reduce my late night cravings. I also found that some days I had to count down to the fast was over, and this occurred mostly at the beginning, while other days I had to force myself to break the fast because my body was already getting into the habit of eating later in the day. I think it all went down to calories in and calories out. So I think with the shorter eating window, I was able to eat less compared to when I'm eating at every time. So as you can see, it did work out for me. You might be asking if intermittent fasting is sustainable or not. I would say I have always found benefit when I use this method, both at this time and in the past. And for me, I'll just continue whenever I can. Sometimes I believe that life is too short to do certain strict or extreme diets, but I wouldn't really call the 16-8 method very strict or extreme, no, although I know I love to eat. But I think sometimes that's the maximum I'm willing to do, or at times the OMAD if I really need it for like an occasion coming up. So I did not do any body measurements, so I'm not sure if any inches dropped from anywhere. After trying intermittent fasting strictly for 1 week, I really want to give a huge thumbs up to people who are able to do fasting or follow any strict diets for long term, because this was really hard. This was so hard to sustain, and I guess it just takes habit and practice, and I was really glad I stuck with it all through the 7 days, because I think this is the first time that I've had to have a strict diet continuously for 7 days without a break. So is intermittent fasting for you? I don't know. If you want to try it, I think you should consider doing your research though, and then try it and see how it goes. Also, make sure you don't participate in it without talking to your doctor, especially if you're not an adult, if you're pregnant or breastfeeding, you have a history of eating disorders, or are suffering from any chronic diseases. It's also helpful to consider starting with a more conservative window, like the 16-8 method, which I just did, versus the OMAD. Intermittent fasting is still a very controversial topic, as there are studies that show that it works, and there are studies that show that it does not work. So it's also more controversial for its benefits in women. So please make sure you're doing your research. Don't listen to any random lady on YouTube. Just make sure that you're doing your research before you're starting on this diet. Please let me know in the comment section if you currently fast, what your fasting schedule is, how long you've been fasting for, and what your experience has been so far. Also let us know if you plan on starting intermittent fasting and why you plan to do so. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.